In the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you how to do your beverage branding and create a 3D mock-up using Photoshop. I pulled this image up. If you want to check through the folder, there's a bunch of stock images that I've made available to you. So bottle labels, you can do that, bottle caps. There's some 4-packs in here, 6-packs. Some of them are 3D renders, some of them are actual photographs. You only have to do one of these, so I'll leave it up to you which one you want to choose. And here you've got some that are indicated with kind of more natural paper in there. So find one of these mock-ups if you do want to do this through Photoshop that you think is going to work best for you. But for the demo here, I'm just going to use this one that I have up here. And I'm going to put some graphics from one of my students from a past class on here. So to get started, what we need to do is make some selections for the various panels that are up here. So I'm going to use the pen tool and move my toolbar up a little bit here, or try to. There we go. So I'm going to use the pen tool and create selections from the various panels on here. So let's do the front panel. And I'm trying to get, now this probably won't be as exact as I want it to be, but that's to make the video a little shorter here. So I'm going up here to the corner. And again, you can always adjust these later if they're not quite right, but this will be a good way to start. Now here's the thing you're going to notice. I'm going to go right over this bottle. We're going to come back to this selection in a minute. And come down here, grab this side. And again, definitely when you're doing this, take the time to do it as accurately as possible. I'm being a little quick here. Now again, I'm going to jump over here and include the bottle. I'll show you why in, if not this video, in the next one. So I'm going to come all the way around here. There's a little jog here with the cardboard. And I've created this with the pen tool. Now this is not a selection. This is what we call a work path. If you come over here to paths, you'll see it. On here, we need to turn that into a selection. So once you click on that path panel here, come down here to the third icon in from the left. It's a little dotted line. This will turn this into a selection. So once I click on that, you'll see it's a selection. Now I'm going to do one thing extra here. The goal here is to make this look realistic, and if you look at photos, things aren't going to have exactly hard edges on them. They're going to be a little bit of a blur on every edge. That's what makes it look like a photo and not like a kind of pop-up picture book here. So what I'm going to do is, once you have your selection, I'm going to come up here under the Select drop-down menu. I'm going to come down here and do Modify, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do Feather. And I'm only going to feather this 1 pixel, but what that will do is when I place my artwork in here, it won't give me a solid hard edge in here, and it will blend into the background and look a little bit more photographic. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now what I'm going to do, and I'll back off here, so I've got the front panel, and again it's covering the bottle too. We'll get back to that in a second. But now I'm going to save this selection, and we'll just call this front panel. All right, we've got that selected. Now what I'm going to do is do the bottle here in front. And again, I'm going to do this very quickly using the pen tool. And I'll start down here. And again, you guys should take the time and get this as accurate as possible. In the interest of keeping these videos as short as possible, I'm going to kind of do a quickie selection here. And I'm going to go through the same steps I did before. I'm not going to get the bottle cap in here. I'll just come up here and grab this. And again, I'm being a little sloppy here. Definitely take the time and do it as smoothly as possible. Also, especially on the bottle, to get the smoothest curves on here, you want to use as few points as possible. Now, I might have to come back and adjust some of these later, but for now, I'm going to come around the bottom. I'm not really worried about all these ridges, and I'll show you why in a minute. Come around there. Once you complete this again, it's going to be labeled over here as a work path. We want to turn that into a selection. So come down here, third icon, you'll see the dotted line that turns it into a selection. Same thing here, we want to feather that edge. So I'm going to do under the select drop-down menu, modify, come here to feather. Make sure you do 1 pixel. Also, make sure you don't click this box because what that's going to do is affect the edges of your image here. So leave that unchecked, 1 pixel there. Do that. We'll go ahead and save this selection. And we'll call this the bottle. And then a couple other selections here. Let's come back here and talk about the handle. So I'm going to deselect the bottle there, go back to my pen tool. And what I'm going to do is get the carrier handle on here. And you'll notice I'm going straight through the bottles. Now on this photo mock-up, you can see the handle over here has a cut in it. I'm going to forget about that for now and just come over here. And again, take your time, do this as accurately as possible. Now here's the deal. When I make this selection, so again, in your path, you can see it's a work path. Come down here, turn it into a selection. Now here's the thing, because I selected the handle back here, but I've got a hole punched out of that. How can I do that in the selection? Well, the way you can do that is by going into what we call quick mask. So if you come over here, in your toolbar, right underneath your color picker, you'll see a little rectangle with a dotted line in it. It says Edit Quick Mask. And when you do, there it's going to show you the selection. And you can actually double click this to indicate whether it's the selected area or masked area. We want this selected. You can also choose a color here to indicate this. I always go with kind of this acid green color because it's really easy to see what's been selected in there. And anyhow, go back into Quick Mask. And now what I'm going to do is go back and use the pen tool. We're going to take out the handle here. So while it's in Quick Mask, I'm just going to come over here and come around here and I'm going to kind of eyeball it through the bottle here. And again, you can always clean these up or change them later on, but this will just save a little bit of time. So I'm still in Quick Mask. I still have the whole handle selected. Now what I'm going to do is come over here in the Paths panel. I'm going to turn this into a selection. So now I've just got this handle in here. And now what you can do is we can just paint this out. So I'm going to grab the paintbrush tool and get a little bigger brush here. And I'm going to switch over here to white. And I'm going to paint this out. So there I've taken the handle out of that using Quick Mask. All right, once I have that done, I'm going to deselect the handle, the interior handle here, do Command or Control D. Now here's what you do. Come back over here to Quick Mask, click on it. Now it's a selection again. But again, do what we did before, select, modify. We're going to feather the edge a little bit here. And then you want to save this selection as well. And we'll call this carrier handle. And then one last selection we're going to make here. And I'll show you what it is. That's going to be these 2 bottles in the front. And because I want to select 2 areas and they're not touching here, the easiest thing to do is to start in Quick Mask and go to the pen tool. And I'm just going to do these very quickly here. Come up here. And I'll explain why we're doing this when we start putting the artwork in here. All right, so there's one bottle. If you look over here in paths, it's a work path. So I'm going to turn it into a selection. And again, you're in Quick Mask, so I'm going to paint this in so we can see that green color. All right, I'm going to deselect it, Command or Control D, come over here, grab the pen tool again, and do the second bottle here. And again, I keep telling you this, I'm doing this kind of fast just for time's sake here, but definitely take the time and try and make as accurate a selection as you can here. Good enough here. Again, in your path tool, you'll see it's a work path. We're going to change that into a selection. And we're still in Quick Mask, so grab a brush and we'll just fill this in. And once we have those two bottles, go ahead and deselect it. Now what we're going to do is take this out of Quick Mask, and same thing, let's modify the selection by feathering one edge on it, or one pixel, and then we'll save this selection, and we'll just call this Interior Bottles. How's that? All right, so now I have all these selections, and now we can look into starting to put the artwork into your 6-pack carrier.